Hi everyone, so today I thought of making another video for you guys, and I think this is one of the most important videos when you should watch before coming to Germany actually. So this will be about how to find a house or an accommodation uh, before moving or even after you move to Germany, and it's such a headache actually, and this is a kind of a major issue over here. I mean, I see most a few of my friends who have been to other countries and it's not very difficult for them. So yeah, I'll quickly take you through some of the sites and I'll give you some tips how to find a house over here in Germany. And yeah, what are the things that you have to keep into mind while renting out a house. So there are a few websites which are available. So yeah, as you can see, this one, Wege gesucht, and yeah, most of these pages, this website is entirely in German, but you can always use the Google Translator to translate. And then you just put in your location over here, what kind of house you're looking for, a shared apartment or shared room or one room apartment or a full apartment or a full house, and then you can type the rental type, so like unlimited, temporary, or all these things are, and you can also put the area. And let me quickly take you through one of these ads. So they basically, what they do is they post some ads and you have to keep on looking the ads, and they always mention that from when it is available and yeah, their address, and you have to contact them over here itself. And one of the most important things that you have to notice, that they give an entire description of the house or the location and what are the circumstances. So there are two types of rent basically, you say, that's what they call over here, like the cold rent and the warm rent. So cold rent is basically just the rent for the house and it includes nothing. Plus, there is an additional amount that you have to pay for the electricity and the gas heating and all those things. So that makes up your warm rent actually. So if you go through this ad, they have mentioned like the basic rent is 516 euros and the additional cost of 50 euros. So the warm rent is 566. So this is how the rents are, designed over here. And yeah, they also mention the security deposit. So security deposit is maximum 2 months rent, and sometimes it's 3 months rent, but I've seen mostly 2 months rent. And yeah, that is the security deposit. And so one more thing, sometimes the house is entirely empty and there's no furniture, nothing. Sometimes you don't even find the light bulbs and all. So yeah, that is very strange over here. But yeah, some of the houses, like most of the houses, are furnished, or what happens is exactly the tenant who is living already there, they pass on their furniture sometimes for free, and sometimes they charge you for certain things like the dishwasher and the stove and the fridge and all those things if they have like installed by themselves. So they also mentioned that to take over all the furniture and all the stuff, how much they would charge actually. So yeah, you can always negotiate on that part, and you can look at the condition of the all the amenities that you are taking over from the other tenant. And yeah, the another thing that, so there is one more important thing that you have to keep in mind is the minimum rental period. So suppose if you're taking a house for just a few months, and you're not planning to stay for longer, but the minimum rental period is in most of the houses, sometimes it's 1 year, sometimes it's 6 months, sometimes it's 3 months. And even if it's 6 months or 1 year, you have to notify your landlord or the person from whom you have rented at least 3 months before you're leaving. And if you don't, I mean, suppose if you just woke up today and you want to leave the house, so in that case, you're obliged by German law. When you sign the contract, it's mentioned that there's a minimum notice period of 3 months. But there is a workaround that the landlord, if he's good enough, he offers you, okay, you find another tenant for me, and if you can find a suitable tenant for me, you can just move out immediately, and yeah, you can hand over the house to the other guy. So yeah, this is very important thing that you have to keep in mind. So when you go through your contract, just read all these things very carefully. One more important thing, When you enter the house, you always check all the amenities and everything, like the walls, there's no damage on the floor or in the kitchen or anywhere else. And they have a particular, a format or a form in which they mention actually that all this is broken, and when you move out you have to leave the house exactly in the same condition. So yeah, just be careful while filling that and signing that form, filling and signing it. Yeah, because that's very important. So another very important thing I would like to share with you is, yeah, the parking space. So suppose you plan to go and buy a four-wheeler or a two-wheeler, and so for that you have to pay extra for the parking space. So it comes around like 30 to 40 euros that you have to pay for the monthly for the parking space. But yeah, that's it. And then the another thing is, sometimes your landlord already has a contract with the energy company, or he's paying for the energy expenses and he takes from you. But suppose if you are moving to a individual house or an apartment, so over there you have to take, you have to, approach a energy company, or your landlord suggests you that with this energy company you can sign the contract, and then you directly pay your energy expenses or the gas expenses, like the for the heating and the electricity to them. So yeah, that is also one very important thing that you should clarify, that yeah, what exactly the scenario is. And some of the houses have gas heating, and some of the houses have electric base heaters, radiators actually. So the gas heating is always cheaper because it mostly comes from the government companies, and yeah, the electric heating is quite expensive. So that also you make sure to ask that what kind of heating system that they have. And another important thing is the liability insurance. So suppose if you take in a house on rent and you end up breaking something or some damage you caused, so in that case it's always recommended to take a, a liability insurance. And for a single person, for an individual, it costs around 30 to 50 euros. And liability insurances also cover, suppose if you are walking in a supermarket and you accidentally break some beer bottles or wine bottles. I mean, that's not that expensive over here, but just in case you break something, so that is also covered by the liability insurance. So it's always a good idea to take a liability insurance over here. And yes, I mean, it's recommended always. And yes, another thing, yeah, so you have to leave the when you leave the house, you have to leave the house in the same condition. So suppose you don't have to paint the entire house, just, the landlord will come and inspect that, okay, this part of the wall is, it's losing its color or something like that, or it's, you did some art on it. So in that case you have to paint it by yourself. I mean, you can paint it by yourself, just buy from the market and you can paint it. It's not easy to afford a painter over here. So, and yes, one more thing you have to be very careful about is the frauds. So this was actually a situation which I encountered. So I was looking for the houses, and you can also look for Airbnbs for shorter term, like if you're looking for 2 weeks or 3 weeks and then you want to find a house properly. So you can always look for Airbnbs, and they are like a good option over here. So sometimes people on these websites, like this Wikigazoo and this eBay and this Immobilien Scout, so they post the ads. Okay, they pretend to be the house owners, they give you the exact location and everything, then they share you a link and they will ask you to pay like beforehand. Never do that. So, and yeah, just make sure the link that they share is legit or not, the link of the house or the property. So yeah, be very careful. I mean, it's not that many frauds, but yeah, still there are a lot of frauds happening around here. I mean, most of the frauds happen in US, I guess, but yeah, in Germany also it happens. So be very careful about that. And I would suggest, if you're moving to Germany, you should either start looking for the accommodation from back in India itself and contact the house owner. So how exactly it goes is, you just have to, contact the house owner. So just like click send message, and then you have to drop a nice message telling them that you're from here, you're working at this particular place, and what do you do, and what are your hobbies, and a little bit more about you, because yeah, they always want to approve the tenant who is not a trouble to them, basically speaking. So yeah, you can just give a nice introduction to them, and yeah, ask them to reply you as soon as possible, because I remember during my house hunting, I used to message a lot of people, and then some of them don't reply at all. Some of them reply, but by the time they reply, it's already sold. And also, yeah, you have to be a little lucky over here to find a good house. So yeah, be very careful about that. So I would suggest, like, when you come here, you can either take a Airbnb or serviced apartments. So service apartments are basically the kind of Airbnbs itself, which provide you all the the basic facilities and everything for weeks or something. So yeah, they are still like the better option to take. So yeah, these are the few points that you have to keep in mind, and I'll share all these links uh, in the description, so that you can go to these websites and just start looking for the houses. You just have to type in the location. So suppose if I go to this eBay, and yeah, okay, that's pretty expensive. Let's find something else. Okay, so suppose this is a house with the balcony and all. So yeah, it looks pretty good. Oh. So yeah, they give you the description and everything, and sometimes animals are not allowed, like cats, dogs, and yeah, this is very sad. And if you see over here, the minimum rental period is 2 years. So yeah, that's why it's sometimes very difficult to find a good house, and at an affordable price actually, and in a good location. So yeah, happy house hunting. I hope you like the video.